You can make your accounts payable team dramatically more efficient without spending a dime on new technology. Let me show you how the 1% approach can help you quietly crush the inefficiencies that drain your organization's bottom line every single day. These improvements tend to be smaller and hence don't get the attention they deserve. Stick with me until the end, because at the end of this video, I'm going to show you a tactic that few even think to use, and it will leave you slapping your head saying, why didn't I think of this? Now, before we get started listing out these process improvements, let me define what we mean by the 1% solution. The 1% solution, as it relates to accounts payable and accounting, says that if you improve many of your numerous tasks involved by 1% each time you do them each week, by the end of the year, you will have a remarkably efficient operation. Let's take a look at some of these simple techniques. Now, those of you who are familiar with YouTube impresario MrBeast will recognize that he advocates this approach as well. Basically, what he says is that every time you do something, and in his case, he's talking about making YouTube videos, you can try to improve some part of that task by 1%. Over time, these small improvements add up. So let's kick off with looking at some surprising time savers hiding in the tools that you use every day, like Outlook and Excel. If you've ever retyped the same email 20 times in a month, you're about to save a ton of time. Tactic number 1, look in places that you don't normally look to make processing improvements, including Outlook, Excel, Word, etc. Do you find yourself writing the same email over and over again? Well, most of us know the common shortcuts such as copy and paste, Control-C plus Control-V, or cut and paste, Control-X, Control-V. There are many others that we don't use every day. In fact, there are at least 26 other shortcuts, one for each letter of the alphabet, and probably even more than that. While they all won't be useful to every person, there's probably a few that you can add to your repertoire. Do a quick Google search or go to the AP Now YouTube channel and search for the video entitled Excel Shortcuts Everyone Should Know. In that video, we described 26 of them. Tactic number 2, reduce the number of invoices coming in through the mail. Now, this should be relatively easy to do, except for perhaps a few holdouts. Overall, most organizations now receive less than 25% of all their invoices by mail. Suppliers are receptive to moving away from paper on this front, finally. And here's the pitch you can use with suppliers to make the switch. No tech jargon, just bottom line benefits. Contact all your suppliers still sending invoices by paper and request the change. Point out the benefits to them, including reduced cost, no more invoices lost in the mail, and faster payments. Without a huge amount of effort, that less than 25% should be closer to less than 5% of your year's invoices. Certainly worth the effort. Tactic number 3, streamline repetitive tasks. Make a list of repetitive tasks that your team does over and over again. Evaluate each separately and look for ways to automate. Here's a simple example. If you have someone opening the mail and then someone scanning all invoices, consider reducing the number by simply requesting that all invoices be emailed, as we discussed earlier. Tactic number 4, create a library of repetitive emails. This not only saves time, as your staff doesn't constantly need to reinvent the wheel, but it also limits typos and grammatical errors. Since editing will be done on each email, there's always a chance for one of those two annoyances to creep back in. Here's an example. If your processes automatically return invoices without purchase order numbers, do you have a standard email that they can use to send it out? Or just edit slightly so they don't have to reinvent the wheel? If you have 2 or 3 different scenarios, then you can create 2 or 3 different emails. Other examples might be reminders for emails out for approval, reminders for expense reports, and inquiries for missing W-9. The insights you gain from the next tactic could prevent dozens of errors before they happen. Tactic number 5, track invoice discrepancies along with the final resolution detailing the cause for the problem. At least quarterly, review and identify root causes. Work to fix that issue. So for example, if you have a preponderance of problems coming from POs being issued by one region, investigate to see what the issue is. Does someone on their staff need more training? Are they working off old price lists? Whittle the issue down, but don't expect them to go away completely. Also, expect new ones to emerge. Tactic number 6, reduce the number of phone calls and emails coming into accounts payable. Many of these are asking for information that, if provided appropriately, will mean the suppliers don't need to contact accounts payable and waste their valuable time. Start by keeping a log of all such vendor inquiries, making sure to organize them. Are they looking for information about a deduction, inquiring about a past due payment? Just wanted to know if you've received their invoice. Once you've got that data, review it to determine which calls are coming in with the greatest frequency, and see if you can create a process or a resource to provide that information to the caller without having your accounts payable team interrupted. While you clearly want to start with issues getting the highest number of calls or emails, if you have an easy solution for one of the lesser items, implement it immediately and get it off your list. This next one is a simple no-brainer once you realize that you haven't done it in years. If that, I'll even give you the one question to ask that reveals if a report actually adds value. But before we get to that, if this video gives you even one useful idea, imagine what 20 or 30 could do. Subscribe now and check our YouTube description for our full playlist of AP best practices. We want to help you build a really elite accounts payable operation 1% at a time. Tactic number 7, eliminate any unused reporting. Most accounts payable groups generate a series of reports periodically. These may be weekly, monthly, or even quarterly. But many of these reports will have been produced for a long time. The pressing issue is this: is anyone using them? At least once a year, review the distribution lists for each of these reports. Now, here's the million-dollar question, that one revealing question. Ask recipients of these reports if they use the information and how. Do not just ask if they need it, because they're going to automatically say yes. In some cases, they're on the distribution list from a prior job if they've been promoted internally and may not have any use for it at all. In other cases, they will be able to get the information from another source. In any event, once you have the information of who is using the reports and what they are using it for, evaluate the responses. If you have a good number using the report, then of course you're going to continue producing it. If only a few are using it, see if there is an alternative source for that information. But if the few who use it have a strong need for it and there's no other source, then you're probably going to have to continue producing the report. If you can eliminate 1 or 2 reports, you'll have freed up some time that can be used for other tasks. Along the same line, if you start a new report in response to a special situation, put a follow-up notice on your calendar to review if you need to continue producing the report in the future. For example, when cash is tight, some companies will produce a daily cash flow statement, when under normal circumstances, this is only done once a month. When the crisis has passed, you might be able to eliminate that daily report as well. Tactic number 8, reduce the number of paper checks you issue each payment cycle. Paper checks are, as you know, if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, I consider them to be the most inefficient way to pay suppliers. And by the way, they're more prone to fraud attempt. They are more costly than most people realize. Moving away from this inefficient payment mechanism will make your accounts payable function more efficient. Yet many suppliers are reluctant to accept anything but a paper check. While many other companies have long abandoned paper checks, the U.S. is still holding on to them, although this is starting to change and change rapidly. To make sure you have all the information you need to understand how to use electronic payments, i.e. ACH payments, click on the link that has appeared on your YouTube screen and is in the description. It will arm you with the business intelligence you need in this regard. Good luck.